When are we going? Are we going at 30?
30.
30.
Noise.
Okay, we got a minute. Just as I do the introduction, I'm just quiet in the studio, and then we'll go right into it. We'll introduce Renaissance Rozz. Renaissance. Like croissants. We got croissants and we have Renaissance in the building. Okay. If you're not having fun, you're not living, y'all. I wake up to have fun every day. If I'm not having fun, why am I not living? This is life. This is the life essence flowing through me right now. Sheesh. Why do we take life so seriously? Look, Felicia.
My father lived in Fruitvale, so I would go in between the two cities as a teen.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm a Cali girl. I've always been, I use the word Renaissance because I've always been involved in so many different artistic pursuits, even as a kid.
Okay.
So, you know, my life as a dancer, a singer, an actor began when I was pretty young. And continued to do it with a couple different companies that I was with. And
so you were a childhood superstar.
I wasn't a superstar.
I'm calling you a superstar.
But I was super involved and very heavily subscribed.
There you go.
Yeah, that's how I go.
And I'm thankful. I'm grateful to my family for subscribing me in such ways.
Yeah.
Because it meant
exposing you to all these different platforms.
Yeah, and it was, you know, there's a discipline of art that when you can learn it at a young age, it kind of sets you up for success pretty early in life, because you have a roadmap that you start to create for yourself, because you see, oh, you use a roadmap for this, you use a roadmap for that, well, then I should use a roadmap for this. And you start to carve out these pathways.
You see the blueprint
for your life, you know, and so it started me off doing that really early. So I always felt confident kind of moving forward in life, even as a kid. Yeah. But actually made me decide to leave California and go to New York at 17.
Oh, wow.
And I left. I was like, it's time for me to
venture on my own too.
Yeah.
Get out
see what the world has to offer. And
how was it? I mean, it's going from one city to another. So how was that?
I wouldn't call San Francisco a city.
What?
Really?
What is San Francisco? It's a town?
It's kind of a village.
A village?
A hamlet, if you will.
San Francisco. Why? Because it's not as massive as New York? Is that what you're saying?
I think I just always felt, even as a kid, I was like, there's so much more to life than this little village.
Really?
I was like, this can't be it.
Yeah. And when was
I don't know why
80s?
I knew that. Yeah, right. It was the 80s. And so
San Francisco was popping in the 80s.
It was absolutely, it absolutely was. And then I went to New York and I was like, oh, this is a
city. That's different.
That's what I mean.
That's like a New York City and then like a New York State. Right?
For
so
sure.
That's not even fair, because it's like San Francisco State.
True. No, and I listen, San Francisco is near and dear to my heart. That is my home, and I love San Francisco. But when I got to New York, I just realized, I don't know, just the possibilities, and that you could be whoever you wanted to be.
Yeah, and you didn't get that from the Bay?
No.
What?
Actually,
all
the
great things that come out of the Bay Area.
Oh, wonderful things come out of the Bay.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I felt like I hadn't really flourished yet. And when I got to New York, it just.
So what happened in New York?
Yeah. What was that transformational moment that you were like, oh my God, I found myself? Like, people want to know. People are looking for.
Family radio.
Oh yeah, definitely family.
Okay.
So just no cussing.
You asked.
Yeah. We're not talking about the cocoon.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think there was a series of things, you know. It's also when I started college, so, you know, there's all of that, and you know, just kind of venturing into academia in another way. But doing that within, you know, the context of this massive city that has so much to offer.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of dove in and started doing music like right away. And I was telling Kat the other day about opera, because I was trained as a classical opera singer as a teenager.
Wow.
And when I was going initially to New York, it was to become an opera singer.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I'm going to be at the Met. You know, that's my trajectory. And then I got there, and you know, I had my teacher, and I was training, and then I just veered off into another direction, into like secular music.
Yeah.
Secular music.
Secular.
Come on.
At the time, it was a 12-piece funk band.
Ooh.
And I was the lead singer of it. And we just started playing all over campus, and then eventually all of the like frat parties and this and that, and we were just blowing up the scene on the campus. And we were playing at the same time that Lauryn Hill went to the same school as me at the same time. We were in the same year.
Wow.
And
so you know Lauryn Hill.
Yeah, and so she was.
That was a shameless plug right there for yourself.
Well, I'm saying it because
Lauryn just kind of kicked it, you know.
We're in the same year, and so our bands were playing at the same time.
Wow.
And I remember we were playing this gig on campus, and she was playing, and the Fugees hadn't broken yet.
Yeah.
But they were like on
Yeah.
the cusp, you know, and it was just
So was she
clear.
opening for you or you opening for
No,
her?
we were playing the same night. It wasn't even like
Okay.
that. It was just like both of our bands were playing. You know?
Okay.
Well, who played first?
Yeah.
Gosh.
She opened for you. Come on. Just say
No,
it.
I don't
Well-
even remember.
Well, on the anything
This
can
is
happen
fair.
show, the
We're
way we
trying to-
remember
We're
it.
talking, we're talking 1992.
Just for the sake of the for the sake of the
Headline.
story, for the sake of the story, we're gonna say that she opened up for you.
I doubt it.
Okay.
I highly doubt
Audience.
it. I'm certain it was the other way around. I'm sure
Well, it
you
sounds
know
more
that.
epic.
Okay,
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
want to say that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it was just dope to be on this campus with all these bands flourishing. You know, she
Yeah.
was in one of them, I was in one of them, a bunch of other people. And then we just kind of popped. And then in New York City, you can be a 16, 17-year-old and just be in the clubs playing.
Yeah.
They don't care how old you are.
Uh-huh.
So I was, studying by day and then at clubs at night and just performing all the time with
Yeah.
my band. And that my life just kind of started from there. And it was very exciting. It was cool. you know?
Yeah. And what was the intention like when you were making music, when you were performing? What did you want to be like on Billboard? Did you want to be one of the all-time greats? Like, what was the purpose?
I mean, I always knew that I would be a musician. That's kind of why I moved to New York. I was like, well, if I'm going to do this, I got to do it in the spot where it's all happening. So that was really why I moved there, was to become a musician. And the agreement with my mom was that I would also go to school. She's like, okay, but there's this other thing you got to do too.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool, I'll do that too, but I'm going for music.
Okay.
So yeah, the intention was always to like dive into the music scene and do my
Wow.
thing. And I spent 25 years as a
25
professional
years?
musician in New York.
Okay. And what is the biggest stage you ever performed on in 25 years?
Oh gosh.
Or like the biggest crowd?
The biggest crowd was probably Madison Square Garden. I sang
Wow.
the national anthem for the Knicks one time.
Wow.
That was
So
Wild.
You
Yeah,
were like
the energy.
You were
Because,
like a big deal.
they were just like, okay, here's the mic.
You said past tense. She
And-
is
and
a
I
big
was
deal.
like-
She is a big deal.
You
This
are a big
place
deal.
is huge. Unfortunately, they lost that night.
But
And I was like,
Knicks.
am I?
Yeah, I was about to say, that's not your fault. That's not your fault.
I feel like it was the start of their losing streak. I was like, did I just
Wow, this
do
must have
that?
been
Not at all.
like early 90s.
You're like, it's the Knicks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
the
saying
start-
that you sang for the
I'm
Raiders
too
or
young to
something.
remember
Oh,
that.
man.
Yeah, right. It was in the stars. There's nothing that Rozz could have done at that point.
But that was a
Wow.
memorable one.
Okay.
But there's been a bunch. Of
I
stuff
like that.
But
I
yeah.
like that. So I saw you have music on Spotify, right? So you're
Do
like,
I? I haven't put anything on. But maybe my.
Yeah, you
I
got.
don't
So
know.
I was just looking at some
I
of
know
your music, like
Apple
doing some
Music a little
research. Yeah. You remind me of like kind of like a Tracy Chapman,
Ooh,
like Tracy
interesting.
Chapman, kind of like I want to say Alanis Morissette, but more soulful.
I've heard that, Alanis. Yeah.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Now, what inspired your music? Like, did you
My
write your own
dad.
words?
My dad was a singer here in the Bay Area. He used to
Wow.
perform all over Oakland and Marin. He was at like Sweetwater all the time and all these little clubs. And
Did you ever go with them to any of his
I did.
performances? Yeah.
And he's a crooner. He
Wow.
he like you close your eyes and you think you're hearing Sam Cooke sing.
Wow.
And
Whoa.
it was mesmerizing,
Yeah.
to hear him and to see him perform. It was just like,
Yeah,
so I just always wanted to be like him,
Yeah.
and he always encouraged me. So,
Good.
yeah.
and I remember when I recorded my first record that year that I started my band in college, and I sent it to him. It was a cassette.
He was like, here you go,
We
Pops.
finished the recording. I sent him the cassette in the mail, and he got it, and he heard it, and he was like in tears on the phone,
Wow.
like,
Wow.
"Baby girl, this is so
Man.
amazing!" And
I could only
he's
imagine
like,
as a
"I
father
can't
what he
wait to
felt.
like help you with your tour." Like, he wanted me to come to California with my band and
Yeah.
tour all over, and then he died the next day.
What?
Your father?
Wow. What? So, in that time period, did that affect your career? Like, was it like, should I stop, or
I
was it
mean,
in honor of Pops that you had to go on?
it was more that.
Yeah,
Like, I was like, no, now we've got to do this.
Yeah.
But I was so grateful that he got to hear it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was literally the day before he died.
Wow.
And what was it, like a natural death?
It was a heart attack.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. If you don't mind me asking, around how old was he at
He was
that time?
51.
51.
Mhm.
Young,
Was he like overweight or a smoker?
He was the picture of health.
man.
And I remember he did have high blood pressure, but he always knew how to manage it really well, kept a great diet, exercised every day, went swimming. And he had started new medication. I remember he told me that like the week before.
Yeah.
So part of me thinks that
it was something with the
maybe
medication.
it was something with that, you know.
Yeah.
I still don't know.
His body, however, his body reacted to that medication could have
yeah.
had some kind of side effects to it.
So,
Man.
yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
But like, it's a good question because it did make me decide, okay, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, and I just moved forward. It's like, okay, this is the charge.
And then you have Pops opening up doors from the other side
for
for you
sure,
to continue.
for
Like,
sure.
it's my baby.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna let her in. Whether y'all know it or not, she's coming, y'all.
Totally.
And still, because I can see it, because it's the music. Being a musician seems just a fraction of what you do.
Yeah.
Right. You do that. That seems like your passion. That seems like what gives you your drive. But you're also a dancer. You're also an entrepreneur. You run multiple businesses. Like I said earlier in the show, you're a philanthropist. You know what I'm saying? Like, how did you start multitasking so many things, especially being a full-time mom as well? Like, a lot of people are like, that's a lot. You know, I can barely do my 9 to 5. Like,
I know. I try not to talk too much about what I do to folks because I know it's overwhelming to even listen to.
It's relative.
But tell people, like, how did it start off? Because obviously you didn't start off with all those things on your plate at once. You kind of built yourself up, and once you saw that you maybe mastered or had a skill set, you're like, okay, maybe I can add something else to my plate. But what did it look like from your perspective going through that process?
I mean, I think I do have to say I was one multitasking teenager. I was, you know, in the theater company. I was in a dance company. I was, you know, with my classical music teacher. I was, you know, performing every weekend. Even as a kid, I was always performing. So I was kind of used to that life already. And, you know, I was at a really tough high school that was very academically demanding. So I was up. I already trained myself to not have much sleep. Yeah. So I would be up pretty much to 2 or 3 every morning, just doing homework, getting it done, and then start the next morning and do the whole day over again. And so I kind of taught myself how to multitask as a teenager, so that when I moved to New York, I was kind of ready. And then just started to, like you said, I started piling it on. You know, I was like, okay, I can handle that. Let me handle that. Now let me add that. Let me add that. And it just, I felt like I had the capacity to do so, because I don't think I would have had I not, you know, but I just felt like, yeah, I can take that on. Yeah, why not that? Yeah, that interests me. Why don't we try that?
Out of all the things that you put on your plate, what do you think has been the most challenging, and how did you work through that challenge?
Wow, that's an amazing question. I'm probably there right now.
Hey, speak on it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, let's talk about it.
I'm you know, I'm running 3 businesses currently, and I'm adding a 4th in 2 months.
Okay.
And they're all quite massive. They're not like little things. And so I'm just trying to figure out how, if I even want to juggle anymore. Like, I feel like I'm at a place where I'm like, I've done the juggle. Like, I get the juggle, I get the hustle. That's not the only way to live life. Yeah. And, you know, I feel like I'm at a place where I really want to allow myself to just enjoy and rest and take my time and not be in a rush, you know, and not have to do that thing, you know, and just like, I'm going to choose to do this thing. Yeah. And so I'm kind of in that place right now, which is really exciting, you know, to allow myself to have that space to just choose, not have to. You know, there's power, there's empowerment in that, you know, and you end up actually doing much more productive, interesting work when you do that, because it's not this burden. Yeah. It's actually a choice. Yeah. And so, so I'm at this crossroads right now with these different businesses and trying to figure out, well, how do I delegate this away from myself and not feel like I have to run this anymore? Yeah. How can I just like kind of bring folks up through the company and have them take over? Yeah. Give them agency to run it and show me how they would do it. Yeah. Like, step away. Not have founder syndrome. Founder syndrome is so real. Yeah. You know, when you start
it's your
something,
baby.
It's your baby.
Yeah,
you want to see it through to the very end, and it's like, that's actually not how to be a good founder. Yeah. And to be a good founder is to let it go and to allow folks to find a new spin. You know, to retool it and try something else. Or, we loved that, but now we want to do this. Or, you know, the community is really asking for this now. They don't need that anymore. I'm not going to
How
be
to
the
stay
one to
relevant.
always know how to do that.
Yeah.
It's the youth, it's the folks that coming into the business who have that perspective and say, hey Rozz, why don't we try this?
Yeah.
So I want to start moving in that direction of really empowering my folks and my staff and everybody who works around me to just go for it. Take the reins.
Yeah.
You know, I'm starting this other thing over here. So y'all know what this is.
So you just kind of slightly mentioned it. You're one of the founders of Agency Oakland, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Can you tell us a little? Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about what Agency of Oakland does in the community and what it represents?
Sure. I mean, Agency Oakland is only a year old. It's a baby.
A year old.
Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations.
But thank you. And, you know, it kind of landed on us, you know, this space within a larger space over in East Oakland, not far from like Embarcadero Cove, like where the pier is.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's kind of like an area that people, it's, you know, kind of a forgotten area.
Right.
People come and they're like, wait,
Right.
where am I?
What's so funny is
Right.
I think I told you when I was a kid, we
Yeah.
threw the newspaper, and the Tribune used to be right across the street on
That's
the other
right.
side of the freeway. So I'm very familiar with the area
Right.
because I was there all the time.
Wow.
But it was over there, it's just like warehouses. They had what was the bakery? It was a bakery over there back in the day off
Was
of
there?
23rd. Yeah, like as you were going to Alameda, it was one of the bakeries. And I used to love that place because you could smell all the baked goods from the freeway.
Mhm.
Yeah. So being familiar with the area and seeing what y'all doing over there, it's dope to see how y'all bringing new life to an area that kind of
That's
seems
exactly
like,
what
you
we're
know,
trying to do. Yeah, we, you know, there's going to be a larger development called the Loom. That's it's kind of a hub for health and wellness and just kind of like entrepreneurship and you know, local merchants and folks that are doing stuff and just various spaces. And we were basically given this space and the opportunity to say, well, what can you do with this?
Yeah.
And we're like, well, give us a shot. You know, we're, you know, me and my partner Asan.
put me in, coach. I can
put
do
me in,
it.
coach. My partner Asan Jethmal, he and I run it together, and he's an artist as well. He makes music, and he runs an art gallery across the street from the Tribune.
Yeah.
And that's how we met them, because they also own the Tribune building. They own a bunch of buildings in downtown Oakland.
Yeah.
And they bought this space that's now called the Loom.
Wow.
And so we saw the warehouse, and you know, at first I thought, oh, this could be a home for my organization, for TPC, the People's Conservatory that I run. And, you know, he wanted to house his, and another partner at the time wanted to house hers. And then we got into space and we're like, wow, we could do a lot of this.
Yeah.
And then people started coming and wanting to do events and saw this 10,000 square foot space. And we're like, can we do this? Can we do this? Can we do this? And we're like, yes,
Come on.
let's try everything.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've had a year of that, and we've had a chance to really hopefully support a lot of community, a lot of organizations, a lot of folks who have been displaced during the pandemic and needed space. And now we're at a place where actually we're going to turn into an art co-working space.
Wow.
And we're going to build out studios for artists to use for, you know, just developing their craft and collaborating and creating together and having a space where they can feel at home and feel supported and do it at, like, you know, a subsidized rate so they can afford it, you know, stuff that we don't have enough of. So, so we're really excited about that now.
I see.
Yeah.
You are like a battery pack.
I am an Energizer bunny.
You know,
I've told folks.
Whoa.
You know,
And I don't drink coffee.
you know what's so funny? Me and Brother Kwesi, we actually went to your space prior to meeting you.
Oh, what?
Because Be Imaginative had a event at the space, and we went to their event, and then we're like, what is this? And they were telling us about agency, and they were telling us about you, and we're like, Rozz, okay. And then we ended up meeting each other.
Full circle.
I love me some Ish and Brittany. That Soul Remedy project is so beautiful. That was one of the most beautiful things to host in our space, honestly. They transformed it into this just coven of safety and beauty and just healing. It was
creating
gorgeous.
a safe space for people to, you know, release a lot of emotion.
Right. And that really helped to cleanse the space. You know, because I don't know if you know, but this factory was a cotton mill. So it was inextricably linked to the slave trade in the 1800s.
Wow.
And so there were, mainly Portuguese workers in that factory, but you could see the train tracks down the street. The cotton was coming from the south directly to Oakland.
Yeah.
And so there's a rich history there. So when you're in the space, you feel it in the walls. You feel it's brick, which is interesting too.
Yeah.
So you feel the spirits in the brick. And we have to honor that. And that was one of the reasons why Asan and I decided to even go into the space, because we felt like it's a bit like reclamation. Like, this is supposed to be folks' space.
Yeah.
This is
our space.
This is our space. We built this.
Yeah, this was built on our back.
Yeah, so we're going to come up in here and sanitize the hell out of it.
We're going to burn some sage in here.
All the sage. Every event was like, y'all got sage? But a lot of those events, like Soul Remedy, really purified the space for us. So I'm grateful. Wow. I'm grateful.
Okay. I mean, speaking of gratitude and energy, like where does that motivation come from to do the work that you're doing? Because obviously it's not easy work. It seems like it's fulfilling, but also maybe a bit tiring, right? So where does that energy come from to continue?
Yeah, it is. When I moved out here from New York about 8 years ago, I came out with
that was recent.
I moved out with my twins. They were only like 3, and my husband at the time, and we were just like needed to get away from the rat race and slow things down.
Yeah.
My mom is out here, and my aunts, uncles, so it just made sense to have family support us with the raising twins. So when I got out here, I started working at a school. I helped actually to found the school. I was a founding administrator of Roses in Concrete. Community school.
That's a beautiful school.
Yeah,
wow.
And it was had beautiful vision, Black and brown unity, bilingual education, arts forward, trauma informed, all these beautiful things. So I met the dopest people at this school. Yeah. It's actually how I met Brittany.
Oh, okay.
Brittany came on through Kariga and them.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
was
working with Soul Development, and came on, was working with the kindergartners, her and Felicia.
Yeah.
And me and Kariga were like, administrators running like school in the larger sense. And we just all got tight. I made the coolest relationships with folks at that school, like the dopest families had their kids at this school.
Yeah.
It was a tough go of it though, because being a trauma informed school without the resources, doesn't actually work.
More trauma.
Thank you, Kwesi.
Double up on the trauma.
More trauma. So that was happening, and it was tough. It was an amazing experience, but it was tough, and I walked away from it. But I was the director of performing and visual arts there, and so out of that, I was able to kind of test run my idea to create an integrated arts school.
Wow.
And we did it. We provided 150 arts classes a week.
Wow. Where a lot of schools are losing their arts program.
150 per week to only 350 kids. Man. And so once I did that, I was like, okay, I know how to do this. And then I decided, okay, let's create an organization. Let's do this at other schools. Yeah. And that's how I built the People's Conservatory.
Wow.
And so now we're in 16 schools, and we serve over 5,000 kids. And so my energy comes from that. Ooh. My energy comes from being in the room with those kids.
Come on.
They give me
You see the
everything.
life that you're bringing back to the community and the outlets that you're giving these kids. And that's just, you're working in your purpose, your passion.
Yeah.
That charges the battery like no other.
Completely.
Yeah. And that's a good place to pause. So we have our mid-show break coming up. And we're going to talk more about this because our artist for this mid-show break is actually sitting to my left. This is Rozz Nash, a.k.a. is it COULON?
Well, actually, my name is Rozz Nash, but the name of the band is COULON.
COULON. Fantastic. So we'll definitely talk more about that after the break. But you're listening to KGPC 96.9 FM Open and streaming online at www.kgpc969.org. This is the Anything Can Happen show at Cat Fitness, Kwesi Dream, Ruby Envy, our amazing special guest, Rozz Nash. We have a halftime song lined up. Make sure you stay tuned for the second half. We'll talk to you soon.
Oh.
You didn't use the restroom or anything?
No, I'm good.
How you feeling so far?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Good. I love radio shows.
Mm-hmm. That is the vibe.
Mm-hmm.
See? I told you you're going to have the answers to everything.
I'm just curious. I don't know.
Just be a free spirit. Enjoy the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Show goes by so fast. It's
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, totally.
We get to the last couple minutes and it's like, oh, we're at the tip of the iceberg. We could do a whole nother hour.
Right.
Yeah, we got to get people to come back for a part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I got a couple fun questions for you when we get back.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Like I said, everything that you already qualified to.
I know.
Yeah. Yep. Ooh. You plan on coming out with any other music?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what's fueling my move to LA.
Yeah.
So
I think you said that one of the.
Yeah, that's kind of what I want. Yeah, I just feel like I don't have the time here or the inspiration to do music here.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes. Is part of your band or anything in LA already? Or
a lot of songwriting partners of mine live in LA, like 4 or 5 of them. And so it's just like when I get there,
everything's all ready to go.
You know,
yeah.
And so it's just like I don't have any songwriting partners here. They're all in New York or LA. And more good music is coming out of LA right now.
Yeah.
Like really dope stuff. So I just want to be around that. You know?
That creative energy is going to take you to another level.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. We got Felicia dancing in the other studio. Look,
do it.
Felicia's like, I need to single.
Wow. You really like you just got a lot of energy.
I do.
You just see her while she's working out.
Whoa!
I do.
But no, it's beautiful. I'm glad you're finding these outlets, but I see like you got to get that out of you.
I do.
You got to get
I
it.
really do. It's like
it's strong.
he's like, I'm feeling it over here. Girl. Calm it down, girl.
I mean, I like it. I'm a fairly mellow guy most of the time, but you know, it's good balance.
Mm-hmm.
How much time you got?
Says we got a minute left.
Oh, okay.
Got 60 seconds.
But is there? So I have some questions for you.
Okay.
You know, when we get back into the show, is there anything specific that you want us to ask you about?
No.
She's
no events
in the
coming up or anything you want to promote? Anything you want nominations for?
Actually, no, you're right. I do. I want to talk about COLA, which is the big production that I do with my organization.
Okay.
Oh, I saw that on your page.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about that.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, friendly reminder.
Yeah.
We got 20 seconds.
20 seconds. And we got about 20 minutes left. Okay. So we are officially back. This is the second half, best half of the Anything Can Happen show with Cat Fitness, Crazy Dream, Ruby Envy, and our special guest, Rozz Nash. That was an incredible song from her group. Is it
COULON.
COULON.
Put some respect on it.
That was his 5th guest. COULON.
What was the inspiration to that song?
Yes.
You could just hear the passion.
What was the name of the song and also the inspiration?
Oh,
yes.
wow. Really? Well, it's called Letter from a Mistress.
Uh-oh. Anything Can Happen show. It's getting good now.
Oh, jeez.
Whatever you feel comfortable saying.
Well,
it is a good song.
Just so you know, it's not about me. It's actually a good friend of mine. For real.
Yeah.
And
we want names.
No, talk to it. It's a really good song.
I just remember her confiding in me for years about a relationship that she had with a married man. Mm-hmm. And it was very conflicting in so many ways, but she loved him.
Yeah.
And so I just was like, well, what would it be like to write a letter?
Wow.
To
address
it, and so that's kind of was the inspiration.
Wow, yeah, you're a true artist. You took somebody. I had no idea. Listening to the song that was somebody else's story.
Yeah,
that's powerful. That's powerful. But okay, and what? So speaking of artistry and music, what is your favorite song that you've ever written?
Ooh,
even if it's somebody else.
She said the list is too long, Quezzy.
Wow.
Yes.
Actually, it is probably with my metal band. There was a song I wrote called Firecracker.
Firecracker. Okay, tell
And
us
I
about
wrote
it.
it about this guy.
Oh, so this
They're
one's
the best
about
ones.
you. This one about you.
This one's about me,
Okay.
you know, and it's one, it's one of those relationships where you come together and the spark is
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
woo!
Like,
Like
oh,
lifetimes you've known each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but you realize that it's going to be short-lived,
Yeah.
like a firecracker.
Yeah.
Like it's a huge spark and then
Yeah.
it's just gonna fizzle
It's
really
gone.
fast. You've got to understand that
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
And so the song is about that relationship.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long did it last?
It wasn't long. It was like maybe 6 months. It was,
Yeah.
he ended up joining, and this was before anyone knew what the Blue Man Group was. The Blue Man Group was a big
What?
group in New York at the time.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then it got so big in New
Yeah.
York that they moved to Vegas.
Yeah.
And they're big, and he was the first founding member of the
Oh.
Blue Man Group in
Wow.
Vegas. And so
Really?
he was like,
Oh.
I got this gig, and
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
relationship had just started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, I gotta move, but we're gonna make this work.
No.
And it
No,
didn't.
not
It
yet.
didn't work
Yeah.
at
That group
all.
is big.
Not at all.
Yeah.
No, that's amazing.
But yeah.
That's true. Okay. And what? So we didn't really talk. We talked about this in the first half. Getting to the music scene, performing at Madison Square Garden for the Knicks, and of course they lost. Whatever. But just performances. Having Lauryn Hill open for you, all the things, right?
Yeah.
So
Y'all about to,
How
y'all
do you-
fabricating a lot right now.
is there anything can
good.
happen, Sean?
It's
So-
out, guys.
We make up our own rules.
I
This
see.
is our show. We say what we want to say. Yeah.
What took you out of the music? Like, was he getting pregnant, or was it just like the firecracker? Like it just dissipated, or like what happened?
Oakland,
Oakland?
California.
Dang you, Oakland.
What happened?
I mean, I was still a musician even when I had my twins. Like I was performing at the time. I had a children's music band that I was performing with a lot, and we were doing huge shows in New York, all over the place. And I would just plop them down in a little blanket and be like, "Okay, mommy's about to sing."
Yeah.
I go up and do a thing. They just be there.
True artist.
So they were along for the ride. But when we decided to move here, I just kind of took a different path and decided to, I'd got my master's degree, my business degree in New York, and was like, well, maybe I should use that. And so then I decided to, start my own organization out here, and that kind of took precedent over music for me. So I definitely made the choice, but I also, like when I go back to New York, I sing all the time, or when I'm in LA,
Right
I
now?
sing all the time. Yeah, because I live in New York in the summer. And so, because I run a business out there too.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm in New York running my business for a couple
Yeah,
months.
I stay in Atlanta a couple months out of the year, and then I go to Houston. I just travel everywhere too. That's what we do here.
Yes, Kat.
I live that
It's
lifestyle
hard for
too,
me to
like a
sit
rock
still,
star.
Kat. You already know this.
I'm a rock star as well, so if you haven't heard already. Just Google
yes, you are.
Google Cat
Google
Fitness.
Cat Fitness.
Yeah, Google Cat Fitness. You'll see me pop up.
We are going to create a song, Kat. We're going to create a song.
Yeah, got to.
So yeah, when I came back out here, I just kind of decided to go another path, another route.
Yeah.
And that's been cool, but I've also felt like only a part of myself. Like I haven't felt like my complete self.
Yeah.
Almost the whole time I've lived here.
Wow.
And so
Yeah.
for a while,
Yeah.
that starts to make you feel like, have I forgotten myself, or do I, and so I want to reclaim that part of myself, and so that might mean moving, and I'm thinking about moving to LA and working with songwriting partners that I have that live out there now, and I have a friend who's huge on Broadway right now. He just opened a big show on Broadway called Almost Famous, based on the movie
Wow.
Almost Famous.
Yeah.
Did it with Cameron Crowe.
Wow.
And he just got a Tony the other night. He's huge,
Wow.
and he's a good friend of mine. We used to be songwriting partners in college, and we decided this summer to work on a musical together. And that's a dream of mine, to write a musical on
Create your
Broadway.
own musical.
So I really want to pivot and go back to that, and
You doing
and
big
realize that, because that's a life goal for me. So.
Yeah.
So, because you've told us so much.
I know, I'm sorry.
No. That's amazing.
This is good.
You're telling us so much of what you do, and how you're involved in so many things. And I don't know if people caught this earlier in the episode, but the energy that you have, and you say you don't do coffee or any kind of stimulants.
No.
What do you do for self-care.
I work out with Cat Fitness.
Oh, okay.
Wednesday, Friday,
Yes.
9:30 to 10.
Shameless
So,
plug right
also
there.
That's a legitimate question.
Yeah, for like I always feel like people that have so many things going on, right? They have a foundation for themselves. Holistically, what is your, if you can tell us as much as you can about like what's your regimen for yourself of like what things that you have in place so like you have the balance that you do in your life? What does that look like? What when it comes to, you know, your spiritual practice, fitness, nutrition, all these things, because I feel like you have to have some kind of balance to maintain all these things.
No, you're right. You're right. And I was serious when I mentioned your class, because your class actually does help to keep me in that strong sort of.
Yeah, because you like picking up heavy weights.
I do.
Yeah. She gets mad at me. Y'all, real fun fact about Rozz, real quick. If I don't put enough weight on the bar, she'll cuss me out. She'll cuss me out. She's like, "What is this, cat?" I can't say the words on the air, but she's like, "What is this? What do you think I am? Put some more weight on here." I'm like, "Hey, you know, I throw the weight on there, and she lifts it.
She knows what she likes.
Yeah.
So that's a part of it, right? Fitness. You know, that's part of why I teach dance, is because it helps to keep me fit as well.
Yeah.
And you know, I feel like I eat pretty well. You know, I'm mostly plant forward. And I don't drink during the week. I'll have a little drink on the weekend. But during the week, I'm like, no drinks.
Come on.
Because I feel how it affects my body, and I don't like it.
Especially when you're so high intense and you got all these things going down.
Yeah.
Like,
I try to eat within certain hours. And I'm starting to drink water.
Oh, that's our 2 week goal, y'all.
What you be drinking? Dr. Pepper?
No, I just forget. I think because I get so busy, I don't
So
remember.
what do you drink? Or you don't
Nothing.
drink nothing?
I just go.
Yeah.
I just go.
H2O.
It's not good at all. So I'm trying to, you know, Kat gave us a challenge for the next 2 weeks to improve something in our sort of health life, and so water's going to be my thing.
That's good.
Water is key.
Okay, so a little bit of water, a little bit of working out, a little bit of, it sounds like mindfulness, you know, preparation. But let me ask you this. Like, obviously, you're a mother, right?
Yes.
Anybody who's listening to the show has heard you mention your twins on multiple occasions, right? But what has that done for your life? Like, what has that added to your life? How has it created you into who you are and who you're becoming?
Being a mom? Oh, it's everything. My twins are, you know, I always gotta say they're my little black magical unicorns.
Wow.
They are such spirits, and you know, and it was very difficult to have children. It took us years.
Really?
It was really hard, and it's one of those things you don't know until you find out.
Yeah, so you're really like, I want a kid right now. What's going on?
It was a shock, you know, especially as a woman. You're like, I'm supposed to be able to be fertile, spit out these kids, but I'd never tried before, and then now I'm trying, and it's not happening.
Wow, I wish Kenyan was here, because she has the exact same story.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's a whole episode that I think is really important, just talking about what it means to, like, infertility issues and things like that.
We
Especially
definitely
for
have to
black
have you
women,
come back.
Black women and black men, we don't talk about it, you know, and it does affect us, you know, and so we kind of had to go through the gamut of things that I never thought I would do to have children. But I did it. I did everything. And eventually, and I always knew I was going to have twins even before I met my husband. It's weird. I just like knew I should be a twin mom.
Yeah.
And
you manifested it.
I did. And so they're like my magical babies.
Wow.
So they just really changed my whole world, my whole life. But I always knew I was going to be a mom. I've always known that about myself.
Yeah, and what does that mean? Because I feel like a lot of men can make the mistake of assuming like every mother or every woman has a mother instinct, or every woman wants to be a mother, right? So what does that mean? I always knew I would be a mother. I wanted to be a mother. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think just even as a young person, you know, I think that's why I love teaching. It's because I love being around young people, and I love, you know, coaching and learning and facilitating and growing, and all of that, you know, really translates into, you know, motherhood for me. You know, it's something where, you know, my kids would always call me Mama Rozz. You know, all my students, before I was a mom, like all of them called me Mama Rozz, and I didn't ask them to. It was just something that they felt from me. Yeah. You know,
those mom vibes.
Yeah. You know, and I just always knew, and I'd take some of the kids into my home, even when I probably shouldn't have, but I knew the crazy stuff that was happening in their households, and that it was like life or death sometimes for them. And so, and then I grew up with a mom who also always took folks into her home. So I think I just always knew that was going to be like me too.
Created that space, that safe space for the kids to hang out instead of being out in the streets and not having a meal or anything like that.
Right. I'd be cooking all the time
that's
for
our
my
house.
students.
Kids, all my son's friends, they just end up popping up and hanging out and be like, "Oh, can I spend the night? Can I hang out?" It's like, yeah, of course. I wouldn't want to see these kids out doing something that they're not supposed to be doing when they could be at the house chilling and having fun and being in a safe space.
Yeah. So you mentioned being a mother, and obviously that seemed like a beautiful experience. Are you married, or do you have a life partner or anything like that?
I'm not married any longer. My partner and I separated, but we are co-parenting, and he's an amazing dad, like the awesomest dad ever. I feel so secure. Like sometimes I feel like I'm learning from him. Like I'm like, wait, how did you do her hair like that? Wait, what did you do? Wait, teach me that. Like he's incredible. So I feel so blessed. We're really good co-partners, and we both see our kids every day.
Wow.
Every day they see both of us.
Wow. And so and that's really good, because not everybody, for example, my parents divorced when I didn't even know my name when my parents divorced. Right, very, very young. And that terrible co-parents. I mean, you're the best way they get, whatever. But no, I mean, it's the young black man in America, whatever.
I know.
But what was that like to develop that understanding of, hey, we're not good as partners, but we have a responsibility to our children? Like, what advice would you give to other people who are going through a similar experience?
Patience. Because it doesn't happen right away. It didn't happen for us
right away. What didn't happen? Oh, like
I mean, he's always been a great dad, but just us co-parenting
understanding the roles and how it's going to work.
It took a minute for us to be on the same
but
page about that.
But it's taking, I think it's taking you guys out of the equation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Take yourself out.
That's what I had to do. Yeah. As a co-parent myself, it was one of the things with my second oldest son that I had to understand. It's like, I'm going to be in my son's life regardless. You know what I'm saying? Like, and once we came to that understanding, it became the best relationship ever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where I'm at all my son's games, where, hey, he's with you this weekend, he's with me that week, all the things. Like, it makes sense. You just have to take yourself out of the equation.
I agree.
It's all about the kid at that point.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And the experience.
Yeah. I mean, we, I also, sometimes people say, happy wife, happy life. But I feel that way about my co-partner. I want him to be so happy because that means my babies are happy.
Get you on stage,
so
get you a book deal or something.
Like we're selling a house right now that we both own, but I just told him, that's yours. I was like, I want you. I don't want any part of it. I'll sign whatever you want me to sign.
Oh, you're generous.
But that's yours because if you have what you need to sustain yourself, you're going to be able to sustain our kids. So
if you're happy with the kids, you're going to see that.
That's how I feel like,
Well, let me ask you this, because this is actually a really important topic, and it's something else along with infertility that we don't talk about enough in the world, especially within our community.
So I was about to say, this is where episode 2 comes in.
I know, we got 5 minutes.
Okay, here we go.
This last question. So looking back, because hindsight is 2020, right? The things you're saying now, it sounds like you all genuinely care for each other. Like, genuinely love each other. It feels like the respect is mutual in that regard. Do you feel like with this understanding, you could have made the relationship work, or that it's like strictly co-parenting?
At this point, it's strictly co-parenting. I think we're such different people that it took us a lot of these experiences to show us that we're very different and that this isn't quite. We got married very fast. We were engaged after 3 months. We were married after 7 months. Like, it was fast.
Firecracker.
So we
didn't get a chance to learn and know who you truly were.
Right.
You know?
So we had to learn.
You left the toilet seat up
again.
What did I tell you?
Shotgun.
But we were married for a long time. We were married for 10 years. So it wasn't like some short thing. Like, we hung in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Y'all gave it a genuine
We
effort.
totally did. Yeah.
And then it's like,
Okay.
we tried.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just gotta let it go.
Yeah, and that's okay. It's okay
Yeah, it
to
is.
come to that realization that
Yeah.
you may not be my forever, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, but we're always going to be co-parents. We're always going to be in each other's lives. We're always going to care for these babies.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
You came into my life for a reason,
Exactly.
and that's what we're fulfilling. And then someone else might come into my life for a whole other reason,
Yeah.
and I'm open to that. You know, and I hope he is too, because I want him to be happy.
Wow.
Come on.
Okay.
See, that's part 2, y'all.
Yeah.
Tune in.
We got
Next week.
That was really
Rozz
freaking
Nash
good.
tells us how to cook.
Yeah. I like that. How to go parent.
Yeah, that's the book. Going on the book tour, y'all, across the nation.
There we go. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen on this show.
There we go. There we go. But last few minutes. So we talked during the break off air about COULON. Tell us, what is COULON and what are y'all trying to do?
Thank you.
Not trying to do. What are they
What are
doing?
y'all doing?
Yeah, we ain't trying no more. That was
No try.
ain't no trying our vocabulary. We out in these streets doing.
We out here doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll give you a short backstory. I used to take my kids to see the Nutcracker every year. And it's something that my mom used to do with me, although she also used to take me to see Alvin Ailey and Dance Theater Harlem and all these black dance companies. And she made sure I knew what was up.
Yeah.
But, you know, the Nutcracker, it's just one of those holiday traditions. And so I would take my girls, and at one point they just looked at the stage and they said, you know, Mom, they were like 3 at the time, maybe 4. They were like, you could do this.
Ooh, come on.
And I was like, what?
They put the ball in your court. They was like, come on.
They're like, you could do this.
Yeah. This is light work.
You could easily do this, and you could do it with like us, because when you see the Nutcracker, you don't see us on the stage.
No, not at all.
And so I was like, okay, challenge.
Yeah.
And so I just decided to create a black version of the Nutcracker. And so we call it COULON, an Afro-diasporic remix of the Nutcracker.
Man, that's dope.
What?
Yeah.
I haven't even seen the regular Nutcracker. I want to see this
Yeah,
one.
come on.
I
It
wanna
sounds
see
like
this
what's the remake of Oz?
The Wiz.
The Wiz. Yeah.
It's that
Absolutely.
vibe.
Come on.
Exactly.
That's what I
Man,
man.
y'all got Michael Jackson.
They got
We
somebody
don't, but we
better.
got
Rozz Nash.
But we
They
got
got
Martin
Rozz
Luther.
Nash.
We got Martin Luther McCoy.
Marlon,
We got
okay.
Jennifer Johns.
Okay.
We got Ryan Nicole. So
Ryan Nicole?
Yeah,
We
she
gotta
wrote
get her
it
on the
with me.
show.
So-
Get
so
Ryan Nicole.
Jennifer Johns and Ryan Nicole sat with me for a year, and we wrote this show together.
Okay. Yeah.
And Ryan is incredible, and she
Ryan
also
is
directed
phenomenal.
the show with me.
And
So,
I've been meeting, this is a sign because I talked to her maybe when she was still pregnant. I think she was in
mhm.
her 8th or 9th month of pregnancy, and she was going to come on the show. But I had to reschedule for like an appointment or something like that. And we haven't reconnected since then. So this is a sign.
she got it with you.
Yeah, we got it.
That woman is phenomenal.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have you tell her how amazing an experience you had talking to the crew today.
Oh man, yeah, I will, because y'all are awesome, and Ryan is incredible. She does so much. She's working on the coolest show right now.
Everything.
It will probably
She's
be on
everywhere
Broadway,
doing
by the way.
everything.
And but she also wrote this show. She directed the show. She directed all the theater parts of it, and we were co-directors. I directed the dance part of it, and we built the show together. And we
Fun fact, she interviewed me one time.
Ryan did.
Yeah. Uh-huh. She
Wow.
interviewed. We was doing the Oakland Movement Festival with Frank and Andre from Damn Sports. And they had the Plant Power Brothers, which was me, Gary, and Monk, come out and speak on plant-based nutrition in the inner city communities. And she was the person that interviewed us.
She's
Wow.
great.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
the bomb. You go to any festival, Ryan is the one emceeing.
Yeah,
she is
she
the
was.
one holding it down,
Yeah.
because she's so powerful, but she's also kind and loving and talented. Like, anyway, I could talk about Ryan for years. But it was a great experience. We wrote this show together. We involved some of the superstars of Oakland. Kev Choice orchestrated the whole thing. We have a bunch of different songwriters that created work for it. Kava Menzies, Dame Drummer, all sorts of people, and over 150 kids are in the show.
Wow.
It's
that's
massive,
beautiful.
and it's kids from all around the community.
So when is
So we
it
have
like-
auditions on Sunday.
Oh,
any
this
kids-
Sunday?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
this Sunday we have auditions at Agency Oakland.
And what day and time?
This Sunday, the
Sunday,
16th,
the 16th.
10:30 and 12 noon.
Okay.
It's for the acting roles. And
What
then,
ages?
it's all, our show is all ages, but
Okay.
the auditions are currently the auditions are for ages 10 to 14 for Sunday.
Good.
But we have a bunch of different dance classes that will funnel into the show. So if
Wow.
you want your 4-year-old baby to be in the show,
Wow.
she can be in the show.
Come on, let's get
So go to, the peoplesconservatory.org and you'll see all of the classes where your babies can be involved and get involved in this.
Man,
It's going to be fire.
That is, when you say all ages, like all kids, like 0 to 18.
I mean, like, I'd say 4, like when they actually can walk.
Yeah.
So I'd say 4 to 18.
It's only so much you can do if they can't walk, Quincy. The
I mean, I
babies.
try.
I train people. They don't even crawl anymore. They go straight to dancing. Straight to dancing. Give me your baby. Why are we wasting time?
But the show's December 15th to the 18th, so tickets are going to be available through the website and on the Eventbrite. So just get involved, y'all, because this is, meant to be Oakland's newest holiday tradition.
Yeah,
that's what it's meant to be.
Anything can happen. We'll be there. I can tell
Yay!
Yeah, come on.
We're inviting y'all to VIP night, though. Y'all are going to be
VIP night?
I like VIP.
Yes.
I like that. But let's do this real quick. Drop your socials, how people can connect with you, and any last words you want to say. 30 seconds.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, for the People's Conservatory, we're www.thepeoplesconservatory.org. We're also at the People's Conservatory on IG and on Facebook. Agency Oakland is www.agencyoakland.com, and we're also at Agency Oakland on IG. I got a new movements. We didn't talk about this, but I'm opening a new movement and wellness center called Flow. And we're going to be featuring yoga, Pilates, dance, strength training classes taught by maybe this guy right here. And and the idea is we're gonna focus and really represent by making sure that we center folks of color in front of the room. So, my instructors look like us, and the folks that are coming into the space look like us, because we're often not invited into those spaces. Yeah. So this is a real intentional space.
Or even when we are in those spaces, it's not a comfortable
It's not welcoming.
Yeah.
It's not comfortable.
Yeah.
So that's Flow.
Yeah.
So look us up, Flow Oakland on IG.
Wow. Well, we are so grateful. This has been another incredible episode of the Anything Can Happen show on KGPC 96.9 FM Oakland. You're listening to Cat Fitness, Questy G, Ruby MB, our amazing guest today, Rozz Nash. Make sure you stay tuned. Like, comment, follow, subscribe at ach.show on Instagram. That's at ach.show on Instagram. Make sure you share this live. Make sure you tell your friends about it. We got some more incredible stuff lined up for y'all every single Thursday, 12 o'clock noon Pacific Standard Time. Stay tuned. We got more on the way. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace. Yay. Okay.
Just a drop for the show.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. So let that play out. Give it a couple seconds.
Got you.
Woo.
Okay. There we go. See, I told you once 55 minutes hit, it was like, damn, we got more to talk about. We didn't talk about flow. We didn't talk about.
Always.
We got. Yes, always more.
You gotta say that for part 2.
Is that, Alicia? That's enough time. We good? All right. Stop it.
Have you ever done a drop before?
A drop. What is a drop?
I guess it's like no.
This is Rozz Nash with whatever organization that you want to say that you're with.
Oh, okay.
Agency of Oakland. You're listening to the Anything Can Happen show.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about. Yeah.
Excellent. And then we'll take a quick picture.
Okay. So
what are all the things you want me to include?
So your name, the organization you're with. You're listening to the Anything Can Happen show, and today we're talking about the Renaissance. How did you say it? Midlife Renaissance?
Embracing your midlife renaissance.
There you go. That's it. Embracing it. And today we're talking about embracing your midlife renaissance. Tune in. Hold on. 1 second. I'm going to record. Record. 1 second. I'll give you a countdown.
Okay.
She's one take Rozz. If you didn't know about it.
You want to practice? You got it.
No, she got it. I see it in her eyes. All right.
I'm just talking.
Yep. We're going in 3, 2, 1.
This is Rozz Nash with the People's Conservatory, Agency Oakland, and Flow Oakland. You are listening to the Anything Can Happen show, and today we're talking about how to embrace your midlife renaissance.
Told you, one take. One take. What did I say? That's
That
it.
was good.
What?
Oh, man. That was good.
Come on. She said, put a microphone in front of me and watch what
Let's
I do.
go.
Watch what I do.
Wow.
And that's the end.
Okay.
Peace, y'all.
Okay. What else you have?